On January 9th, 2014, at about 4:45 p.m., Pennsylvania State Investigator Owen Leonard gets a call about a body being in the trailer. Larry Wagner had just found the body of his wife, Dawn Wagner. Investigator Leonard and the Pennsylvania State Police rush to the scene, and stepping inside, the smell of death overwhelms them. Blood was spattered everywhere, starting in the kitchen, going down the hallway, going into the bathroom. In the bathroom, there's blood splattered on the cabinets, the walls, the ceilings, the sink, the tub. It's everywhere. They find Dawn on the floor with her hands near her face as if she was protecting herself. Her arms are bound with duct tape, her ankles are bound with duct tape, and she's completely covered in her own dried blood. Now, the condition of her body and the evidence on the scene indicated that she had been dead for at least 4 to 5 days, and homicide was obvious. It goes without saying that the family was distraught at the passing of Dawn. Dawn had 3 kids with her previous husband prior to meeting Larry. Mindy and Jennifer stayed in the Midwest, and her youngest child, Sarah, came with her to live with Larry. Now, Sarah was a popular and outgoing girl in high school. She had a lot of friends, and the older that she got, she spent more and more time with those friends and less time with Dawn and Larry, which is expected. As kids get a little bit older, they want to spend more time with their friends and less under the guise of their parents. But Sarah was changing, and she wasn't as close with Larry and Dawn as she used to be. The quality of people that she had been meeting and hanging out with were changing, and as Larry said in an interview, sometimes the cool kids are the cool kids, not necessarily the best kids. So Sarah fell into a habit of experimenting with drugs, and this escalated extremely quickly. By the age of 17, she was already doing heroin, and she looked tired, she looked thin, and she visibly looked like she was on drugs. And Sarah didn't really try all that hard to keep this hidden from anybody. Larry and Dawn would regularly hear Sarah in the bathroom throwing up from either getting too high or from having withdrawals. So Larry makes a suggestion to Dawn that maybe they should move closer to Larry's parents so they can have a little bit more help. And they make a deal with Sarah, and they say, hey, if you go to rehab and you stay clean, you can continue living with us. Otherwise, you have to leave. So they try to make this situation work a little bit longer. Sarah would go to rehab and she would get clean, but it was like clockwork. She would get clean and come back out, hang out with her boyfriend, and she would start using again. And things with that boyfriend got more and more complicated, and even more so when in 2011, Sarah gave birth to a baby boy. Now, Dawn was excited to be a grandmother finally. She was working really hard to support her daughter and her new grandson, but that came at a cost. Things between Dawn and Larry were basically disintegrating. Things were getting a little bit too difficult for them to manage, and the relationship just wasn't working out, and they decided to separate. So Dawn, Sarah, and Sarah's son, they move into a trailer park to basically live their life out without Larry at this point. And after this, things seemed to be going fairly well. Friends from Dawn and Sarah both said that they seemed happy. It seemed like things were progressing as they should. But then January 9th happens. Dawn is found brutally beaten in her bathroom. Her car is gone. Sarah's gone. Sarah's son is gone. So the officers start to search the state to figure out what happened and where everybody else is. Now, Dawn had 18 wounds to her upper body. They were all blunt force wounds, blunt force trauma. 18 wounds to her upper body. There was blood cast off and spattering that started in the kitchen, which suggested that the entire attack, this entire transgression, began in the kitchen. And like I mentioned before, there were drag marks going from the kitchen into the bathroom, and the duct tape on Dawn indicated that she was probably alive for at least some of this attack. Now, evidence at the scene also suggests that whoever perpetrated this attack, whoever viciously murdered Dawn, had tried to clean up after themselves. There was bloody rags in the laundry room area, and one investigator noted that there was so much blood that they didn't even know how you could contain all of it. Now, the murder weapon was found on the scene. It was actually in the trash can in the kitchen, and it was a hammer, just a standard claw hammer, and absolutely caked in blood and remnants of Dawn, basically. But also during this investigation, they found something else that was particularly interesting, which is that the house wasn't ransacked. This wasn't a burglary gone wrong. This was someone close that did this. This was someone who had access to the house. There was zero signs of forced entry, so whoever came and left did so willingly and either with permission or with access. So it's not a far leap to say that whoever did this obviously knew Dawn and obviously knew Sarah and her son as well. So the investigators on the scene are thinking, who could have possibly done this? They're thinking maybe this was a domestic dispute that escalated. So who do they turn to? They look at the man that called 911, Larry. And Larry starts talking and he gives them as much information as possible. And he basically tells the investigators his life story. And during that, he says that Dawn had previously cheated on him with one of her bosses. So the investigators start thinking, well, maybe this was a result of jealousy, maybe something in that regards. So they start digging a little deeper. And during this conversation, this conversation doesn't last that long with Larry, but they can see that he's distraught and, he's talking about the relationship and he doesn't have animosity towards Dawn. He says that things were still amicable between them. And then he mentions that the drug use caused a lot of turmoil in their relationship. And the investigators are thinking, well, what drug use? And then he tells them about Sarah's addiction to opiates. So Larry's telling investigators about the problems that they had and how they tried to help Sarah out and how much of a toll that her drug use was taking on his and Dawn's relationship. Things were going missing, jewelry, electronics, even his lawnmower at one point. And then he tells them that at one point, Sarah had drained their bank account. And for what? Drugs. And, Larry wasn't saying that, Sarah did this, Sarah is, responsible for this. He was just saying what happened with his relationship. And Larry mentions that, Sarah would get clean every so often. They would send her to rehab to keep her in the home. But she would go and hang out with the father of her son, her on-again, off-again boyfriend. And every single time, she would end up using again. So Larry's casting suspicion on the boyfriend of Sarah. But at this point, they still need to rule out Larry. And there's a key thing that Larry says that basically make the investigators turn their eye from him to somewhere else, which is that Larry only came over because he got a call from Dawn's boss. Now, Dawn's boss said that he hadn't heard from Dawn since New Year's Day. That's 9 days prior to when Larry came over. So when Larry gets this call, he comes to Dawn's trailer and he notices the door's open. He just pushes it open, walks in and he's calling out her name. He goes to the back room and doesn't find her in her bedroom. And he turns to his left. He turns on the light and that's where he finds Dawn. And it's at this point that Larry gives investigators one more really important detail. And Larry says that 3 days before he got this call from Dawn's boss, he got a message from Dawn. And it was normal because they would talk every couple of days. Like I said, things were amicable between them. This wasn't some sort of terrible relationship that they had. But Larry says that in these messages, she was typing really weird. She was writing and misspelling in ways that she had never done before. And it was strange enough to where Larry actually made a note of it and was able to recall that during the investigation for Dawn's murder. So the investigators finished their conversation with Larry after about 45 minutes and conclude that he probably had nothing to do with this. And they start talking to the neighbors. Now the neighbors, they tell investigators that Sarah's boyfriend had been living with them in that trailer. And what the neighbors also tell investigators is that Sarah's boyfriend was having suspicious guests coming in and out of the trailer all day long as soon as Dawn would go to work. Now the neighbors were friendly with Dawn, so they were aware that Dawn was kind of reaching the limit with what was going on with her daughter and her daughter's boyfriend. Every single time Dawn would successfully get Sarah to complete treatment and to, get off these drugs, Sarah's boyfriend would show up again. And she would start using again, every single time. So now the question is, did Sarah's boyfriend kill Dawn? So the search for the boyfriend and Sarah and the son begin. And during the search, the autopsy results for Dawn finally come back in. And the coroner says that Dawn was actually killed by strangulation. Not the 18 blows from the hammer, it was strangulation. So this was personal. She wasn't just beaten with a hammer, she was beaten with a hammer and then strangled to death. This was something that was a result of an escalation. This was rage. And yet another interesting detail in that autopsy report is that Dawn's time of death is around New Year's. Now remember, Larry found Dawn on January 9th, 9 days before that. But Dawn texted Larry 3 days before Larry found her. Someone was clearly sending messages from Dawn's phone. So the hunt is on for the boyfriend. They're searching up, down, high, low, every nook and cranny. And they find him in jail already on drug charges. Surprise. So they look at the booking information and yet another interesting detail comes up, and that's that the boyfriend was incarcerated on December 28th, but Dawn was killed on the 31st, 3 days after that. He couldn't have done it. But Sarah's still missing, so they ask him, do you happen to know where she is? And he asks, why? Why are you asking about it? And they tell him that, hey, look, Dawn was found murdered, and this guy really doesn't give a shit because clearly he had some sort of, animosity towards Dawn because she's getting in the way of their toxic relationship. Whatever, we're not going to get into that. But the story turns again, and they find out that Sarah's also in jail for bank robbery. So what happened was on January 7th, Sarah drives about 45 minutes away and tries to rob a Subway and fails. I don't know how you fail, but okay. And so she decides that she's gonna go across the parking lot and goes to a PNC bank. And the PNC bank, she actually robs the bank for about $320. Not very much in the grand scheme of things, but she does it and gets away. But she doesn't get very far. She's actually caught almost immediately, and the reason why she was caught is that there was a report that she had left her son in the car. And by the way, I don't know if I even mentioned that, but yeah, her son was in the car while she was committing these robberies, which is, what? So Sarah goes to jail, gets booked in, and the son goes to the paternal grandfather, her boyfriend's grandfather. So the investigators head over to the women's side of jail. Again, that's mind-blowing to me that they're both in jail for unrelated charges, but whatever. So they start talking to Sarah, and they see a visibly obvious drug addict. She looks tired, she looks malnourished, and she just doesn't look good. So they look over her hands and her arms and try to see if they see any scratches or anything like that. And they don't really see anything. I think they see like a scratch somewhere on the hand, but nothing that outright says that she was involved in an altercation. So they're talking to her and asking her questions, just basic questions. And finally Sarah's like, what do you want to know about this bank robbery? And that's when they tell her that this isn't about a bank robbery. We just found your mom murdered. And Sarah responds by saying, no, you're lying. That's not true. And she's looking around trying to figure out what to say. And they finally get through to her. They finally convince her that, yes, this is true. And she starts breaking down crying. And she says, this is all my fault. This is all my fault. So what Sarah says is that on December 31st, a man named Stefan, a drug dealer named Stefan, showed up to her mom's house with another guy. And they took her into the bathroom. And they said that Sarah needed to go get money to pay off the debt that she had for them. So what Sarah does is she takes her mom's purse and her mom's car, and she goes to get the money for them. It's about $600, and comes back, and she gives them the money. And she gives them the money outside, and she says, did you hurt my mom? Weird thing to ask, right, out of nowhere. If they say no, she takes them at their word, and she takes off with her son. She ends the story by saying that maybe Stefan had something to do with hurting her mom or killing her mom, and the investigators don't really have much to go off of. They don't really have a full name. They only have a first name. They don't have a last name. And quite frankly, based on these stories that Sarah was spinning that make no sense at all, they correctly assumed that Stefan doesn't actually exist. Sarah was lying, and Sarah was covering up for something. Now, during that initial interview, Sarah says that she was caught driving her boyfriend's mom's car when she was arrested for that bank robbery. However, on the arrest report, it doesn't show that. It shows that she was driving her mom's red Chevrolet. So if she could lie about what she was driving, which is already on the report, what else could she be lying about? So the investigators find out that Sarah had gone to a Sunoco gas station and used Dawn's debit card to try to pull out some cash. So now they're looking for a lead, and they're going to other businesses in the area and requesting surveillance footage from that day. Now, one of those businesses that complied with this request was a local Walmart. Now, this Walmart provided detectives with a video of Sarah going into their Walmart and getting a bunch of cleaning supplies, as well as a large blue Rubbermaid bin. I wonder what that's for. Now, remember, this is 4 days after Dawn had been killed, and she's caught on video with cleaning supplies and a large blue bin. You tell me what that's for. So the investigators know that they have a lot more to talk to Sarah about, so they go back to the jail, get her, put her in the back of the car, give her a cigarette and light it for her, and that's when she starts talking about what really happened. This is the interrogation of Sarah vercauteren.
Sarah, for the record, can you state your full name and date of birth?
Sarah Dawn vercauteren, and my date of birth is 10/02/88.
This video was found by The Crime Scene as a new and up-and-coming YouTube channel about interrogations. I've got a link down in the description below. Make sure you give them a subscription. They more than deserve it.
Sarah, you know why you're here today?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, basically you're here today regarding an incident that happened involving your mother. Okay? What can you tell me about the incident that happened back on Tuesday, December 31st?
Let me tell you everything that happened.
Yes.
My mother came home at about 6:30 at night, and she was in the living room and was talking about how she's fed up with everything and that other people using her, and my dad, and stuff like that. And I was really dope sick. And I asked her if I could use her car to go get marijuana, but I was really going to use it to go get heroin. And I think she kind of knew that. She told me no. And I just wanted to get high. And so I went into the kitchen, and she was in the living room watching TV, smoking a cigarette. And I was making a pizza, and her back was towards the kitchen, so she couldn't see me. And I asked her again to use her car, and she said, no, I'm not using my vehicle. I don't care about me. You're not using it. And I got really upset, and my body got really hot, and I seen the hammer, and I picked up the hammer, and I stood on top of the counter, and I hit her in the head with the hammer, and she screamed out, what the fuck? And then I jumped off the counter, and then I hit her again with the hammer, and again, and then the dog Champ came out. We heard her yelling, and he nipped me in the back of the leg, and I hit him with the hammer, and he stopped and went behind the couch. My mom ran to the door, and I pushed her. Hold on a second. I pushed her, and then he kept hitting her in the head with the hammer. I don't know how many times, just kept hitting her. And there's just blood everywhere. And I didn't want my son to get up because he was sleeping in his room. And I don't want her to hear. I don't want him to hear her. So, when she was laying there, I took her by the hands and dragged her into the bathroom. And then I hit her again in the bathroom. And she said, Sarah, you could use my car. I'm sorry, you could use my car. And at that point, there was just so much blood everywhere. And I told her I'm sorry, and I loved her. And then I laid her down on the ground, and I tried to choke her because she was gurgling, and I didn't want her to be suffering. And so I tried to choke her, and I couldn't because it was so slippery. There was so much blood. And then I just left her there. And I went into the kitchen and got the duct tape, and I duct taped her leg because I didn't want her to get out of the bathroom and walk out and then tell on me. And so I tied her legs up, and I seen that she wasn't breathing anymore. And then I went and I heard my son get up, and he's saying, where's my mom? Where's my mom? And I said, Mom's fine, baby. And I took him into the living room and put cartoons on. And then I started cleaning up the blood. There was blood everywhere. And there was using towels and anything I could find to clean up the blood. And then I cleaned up myself and got to put clothes on. And I took her MAP cards, and I took my son. I packed a couple of days worth of clothes, and I left. And I went to the MAP machine and pulled out, I think it was $600. And I went to McKeesport and got a brick of heroin, and I went to the motel room with my son, and he was playing, and I called my friend because I didn't know how to shoot heroin. I never shot it before, and I really wanted to, so I just didn't want to deal with it anymore. And she came over and she did heroin with me, and she shot me my first time. She showed me how to do it, and then for the past 4 or 5 days, I was just strung out on heroin. And then I finally went back to the house, and then I got, I see that there's still blood everywhere. So at the Walmart, I think it was Saturday night with my son, and I got contractor bags and 409 cleaner with bleach and vinegar and washcloth and 2 sponges and hand gloves, and I put it on a big bin, and I walked out of Walmart with it, and I went back to the house, and I cleaned up the mess, and I wanted to put my mom in bed, but I just couldn't go to the bathroom, and instead I just got high, and then after the money was gone and the dope was gone, I left. It was the 7th, and I was going to go to my baby's dad's court date, and it got canceled, and I was speeding for dope, and I went and robbed the PNC bank, and then I got pulled over and arrested.
Okay, sir. Let's go back. The incident at the trailer. What's the address of the trailer? Okay, who lives at the trailer?
Me, my mom, and his dad was staying there. He got arrested in jail.
And your mom's name?
Dawn Marie Wagner.
And the father of your child, what's his name? Okay. So you're saying that it all started over a confrontation, argument, dispute over car keys. So the vehicle is owned by who?
My mother.
Your mother. And why wouldn't she allow you to take the vehicle?
Because I'm pretty sure she seen out I was dope sick, and I'm pretty sure she knew I was gonna go buy dope. And she didn't want me to do that. But I was just so sick.
Okay, so prior to the assault on your mom, did your mother go to work that day?
Mm-hmm.
In the bedroom sleeping, correct? Mom came home from work roughly what time?
6:30.
That's the normal time that she comes home from work. What time does she usually come home from work?
About 5:30.
Was there a reason why she come home a half hour? You know why she come home a half hour later? Approximately a half hour.
She wouldn't tell me. She said she needed to think about a few things.
Yeah, your mom owns the vehicle. What kind of vehicle? What's the make and model of the vehicle?
Chevy. The small Chevy. Look like Cobalt.
Okay.
I don't know the exact name.
2-door, 4-door?
4-door. It's red.
Red color?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's mom's vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the vehicle that you wanted to take. And she refused to give you the keys. Okay. Okay, so the first of all, you got the hammer from where?
The kitchen drawer.
Kitchen drawer. Did you remove anything else from the kitchen drawer?
The duct tape.
A roll of duct tape? Okay. So the first strike, you're behind your mom, and you hit her in the head. And then from there, did your mom fall to the ground at that point?
No, she got up and she looked at me and said, "What the fuck?"
Okay.
And that's when I jumped off the counter and started hitting her.
Sarah, where was your mom sitting when you first hit her?
The left seat. It was right in front of the counter, like right in front of the kitchen counter. Like her back was like towards the kitchen, so she couldn't see me. And she was watching TV and smoking a cigarette.
And you said you got the hammer from kitchen cabinet, correct?
The kitchen drawer.
Kitchen drawer. Was the hammer out for a while, or did you just grab it right at that time when you made that decision to hit her?
I just grabbed it.
Right, so you just struck her one time. Her response was, "Ow, what the fuck?"
Mm-hmm.
Did she fall to the ground at all?
No, she didn't fall to the ground until I got off the counter and struck her again and again and again.
At that time, was she still sitting on the chair?
No, she fell by the TV.
In the living room?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, she fell to the ground. Describe to me what happened after that.
After that, her big dog came out and heard her yelling, and he tried to stop me by nipping the back of my leg, but I hit him with the hammer in the head, and he stopped and went behind the couch, and that's when she ran to the door, but I pushed her out of the way.
The front door at the trailer residence?
Yes.
Okay. Did your mom leave the trailer?
No.
Okay. So she ran towards the door.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, what happened?
I pushed her, and then she fell to the ground in the kitchen, and I just started hitting her again in the head with the hammer.
Sarah, did your mom attempt to defend herself or stop the attack?
Yeah, when we were in the living room by the TV, she tried putting her hands up and blocking and tried to grab hold of my hands. But it was slippery.
Was she already bleeding by then?
Yeah.
Okay, well, she's trying to defend herself. What did you do after that point, after striking her in the kitchen?
And then she was just laying there, like motionless, and so I thought she was dead. So I dragged her to the bathroom, and I laid her down, and she said she wasn't dead, and then she said, "You could use my car." And then that's when I tried to choke her, but there was just too much blood and I couldn't grab hold of her neck.
Okay, sir, so you grab your mom while she's on the ground in the kitchen. How did you grab her? Grab her by her arms.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, is she fighting, squirming around at all?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you grab her by her arms.
Like that. Like she was.
Her arms are up in the air.
Yeah.
Her feet are on the ground. And you're just pulling her backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So you pull her through the kitchen, through the living room, and down the hallway.
Mm-hmm.
And you take her where?
Into the bathroom.
Into the bathroom. And the bathroom's located where in the trailer?
In the back of the trailer.
And then far into the hallway?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. While you're dragging him, your son is still sleeping in his bedroom to your left?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you drag your mom down the hallway to the rear of the trailer. All right. So now in the bathroom. Okay. Tell me what happened in the bathroom.
In the bathroom, I remember I hit her in the bathroom, I think like once or twice again. And that's when she said, "You could use my car, I'm sorry, you could use my car." And then I told her I'm sorry and I love her. And then that's when I tried to choke her because she was gurgling and I just didn't want her to suffer. And I thought she was dead. And I heard her get up. So I went and got her and took her into the living room and put cartoons on. And he's like, "Where's my mom? Where's my mom?" And I said, Mom's fine, baby. And then I got the duct tape and I went back into the bathroom and she was motionless, wasn't breathing. And I tied her legs up because I just thought, you know, she might get up, she might wake up.
Okay. So you say you tried to strangle her, or you did strangle her?
I tried, I couldn't, like...
Were you standing behind her or in front of her?
Like this.
Over top of her, while she's on the ground?
Yeah.
Were you straddling over?
Yeah.
What position was your mom in?
She was like laying on her back by the wall.
Between the door
and the counter.
and the sink?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You also said you struck your mom with the hammer in the bathroom? How did the hammer get back into the bathroom area?
Because I brought it with me.
When?
When I was dragging her. I was carrying it with me and I was pulling her.
So once you got her in the bathroom, then you decided to check on your son's car?
No, he got up.
Okay, he got up?
Mm-hmm.
And you met him before he was able to come down the hallway?
Mm-hmm.
Where's the hammer at this time?
In the bathroom.
Okay. So you reassured that everything's okay? Okay.
The cartoon's on board.
In the living room, turn on television, cartoons, or he's watching cartoons, you go back into the bathroom.
No, I went into the kitchen and got the duct tape.
Okay. And then you got the duct tape, went back down.
Mm-hmm.
Put the duct tape on your mom?
On her legs.
On her legs?
Crossed her legs and put duct tape around her.
Around her upper legs, lower legs?
Lower legs, her ankles.
Around her ankles? Okay. Did you put duct tape on her anywhere else?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why you did put the duct tape on her was for what reason?
I didn't want her to get up, and I thought that she was going to get up and go outside and tell me, like tell somebody. And I didn't want that to happen. I didn't want to get in trouble.
But at this time, mom's pretty much unresponsive.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you thought maybe there's a possibility she was going to get up.
I thought maybe she was unconscious or something.
Okay. All right, so you put the duct tape on mom. You leave the bathroom. You attend to your son. Tell me what happened after that.
After that, after I duct taped her, and I seen that she wasn't breathing anymore, I started cleaning up, like my face. I had blood on my face, and it was on my hands, it was all over me. And I changed my clothes, and I started to wipe up all the blood in the hallway, in our living room, and in the kitchen.
Okay.
And then I went back into the bathroom and got the hammer and threw it in the garbage and threw the rags in the garbage.
What garbage? The bathroom garbage or where? The kitchen garbage? Okay.
And then I put the duct tape back on the counter
The counter where?
in the kitchen.
Okay.
And then I got some clothes for she, and I got my mom's wallet, her IDs, and her cards. And I got in the car and went to the Sunoco.
Okay.
And then I went to the police court and got a brick here with me. And then I stayed at the Highland Terrace Hotel for a couple days. And I didn't know how to shoot, so I called my friend to come over to help me.
Okay.
It's Sarah, real quick. Do you know what clothing you were wearing when you attacked your mom?
I was wearing Eeyore pajama bottoms, and it was like a long white sleeve. I think it was a Steelers shirt. Long sleeve Steelers shirt.
And what did you use to clean up the scene?
Towels and rags that I found around the house.
Any cleaning products at that time?
There was like clean bathroom stuff that I used, but it didn't really work that well. That's why I went to Walmart and got all the cleaning supplies.
And just for the record, I know you said, what was the primary area where you were striking your mom with the hammer?
In the kitchen.
I mean, what was the primary area on her body?
Her head.
Her head?
Was she struck anywhere else on her body other than her head?
I don't think so.
If you can remember, Sarah, do you remember what your mom was wearing?
I know, I'm pretty sure she was wearing zebra striped pants. That little kind of shirt she was wearing.
Remember the clothes she wore to work that day?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so roughly what time did you leave the trailer after the assault?
It's probably like 7:30ish, close to 8.
That's PM.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you leave the house, you gather some belongings, clothing for yourself and for your son.
And toys for him.
Okay. And I believe you said you met up with a friend
Well, she came over to
to the hotel.
the motel.
What motel was that?
Highland Terrace Motel.
In Paris, and that's located where?
Route 30, it's either North Huntington or Versailles.
Okay.
What's the last name?
I don't know her last name. I know she lives in North Versailles though.
Where at?
It's right by the, she didn't know anything about me hurting my mom or anything else.
You contacted her, or she contacted you, and arrangements were made? You contacted her. Okay.
I owed her a couple bags of hair. And I asked her, I said, why don't you come over and we'll hang out and I'll give you, your hair that I owe you, but just can you help me shoot up? I never did before.
Okay, so when you left the trailer, did you have any money on you? Any checks, any credit cards, debit cards, anything like that? What did you have?
I had all my mom's debit cards and her checkbook and her identification, her social security card.
And these items were where? Originally?
Originally they were in her purse.
The purse was at the house or in your mom's car?
At the house, on the counter.
Okay. All right, so you leave the residence with your mom's belongings, purse, debit card. Did you stop and get cash? Did you use these debit cards anywhere?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about that.
Last time ago I used the Pinnacle account to get the money out, and then I used the Pinnacle one to get the room for a couple nights, and I paid cash some nights for the room, and then I used the choice checking to get cigarettes and food and stuff like that for the motel.
Okay. So the first transaction was made at, you said, Sunoco?
Mm-hmm.
And that's on, where's that located?
I believe it's Route 66, Belmont.
Route 66 in Belmont? Okay. And that's just north of Route 22?
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the Sunoco. If you're traveling southbound on Route 22, Sunoco on your right?
Yes,
Okay. ATM's inside or outside?
inside.
Okay. So how much did you withdraw during that transaction?
$600.
$600. Okay. So you leave there, and then where do you go?
Straight to the dope dealer.
Okay.
Who's your dope dealer?
Now, where do you meet?
In Midtown, East and Keysport, downtown Keysport. Midtown.
Okay. Can you describe?
He's tall and black. He has a little bit of a goatee. Looks fairly young. And he always wears like a hat, like a cap.
How young do you think?
I don't know. My age, maybe a little younger.
Okay, about 23, 24? Okay, you're what, 24?
Yeah.
You're 25. Okay, so he's around your age. Okay, so you say it's mid, that's a housing development, housing project?
Yeah, high rise.
High rise One building? That's in downtown McKeesport. Okay. So you meet with, okay, you purchase your hair. Okay. And then from there, you go where?
To the motel.
Back to your motel on Route 30. Where's your son at this point?
Me.
He's with you? He's with you when you went and met with... Huh. Okay. Now, this is prior to meeting with... Okay. So then you go back to the motel, and that's when you contact. Okay.
Did you make any other credit card or debit card withdrawals prior to going back to the motel that day?
Yeah, I got some cigarettes and something to drink and something to eat.
Where at?
McDonald's. Got McDonald's. And to the back.
What McDonald's? Which McDonald's?
The one in Keysport.
The Olympia Shopping Center? Do you use the credit card or debit card?
The credit card.
Okay, so we're still on Tuesday, the 31st. Correct? Did you go anywhere else that night?
No.
Okay. The following day. Did you go anywhere that day? The first, New Year's Day.
No, I stayed at the motel and went over again and we got high. And the next day, I stayed in, got high. And the next day, stayed in, got high.
So you're still with...
Well, she would come over in the morning.
Okay. So how many days did you stay at this motel?
About 4 5 days.
Okay, so the first day we're going with Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Saturday morning.
You stayed there for 5 days, 5 nights, or 5 days.
Mm-hmm.
You left Saturday morning.
Around to about. He let me stay there a little bit later because I just rented the room for so long. So I left there about 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Saturday.
So Saturday, tell me about your day Saturday.
Saturday, I went and got, I think it was like 3 bundles. And then I went back to my house, the trailer, and I got high again. And then later that evening I went to the Walmart and got the cleaning supplies and the blue bin. And I went back to the house, and I took the Christmas tree down, and the Christmas decorations down, and I cleaned the entire house, like the floors and everything.
Okay, this is on Saturday. Okay, this is day number 4 after the incident that happened at the trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you left the trailer, you met. Did you have telephone communication with anyone else other than me?
Mm-hmm.
Did you decide to call anyone? Did you decide to call the police, medics, anything?
No.
Okay, so your mom is in the trailer. At this point, do you think she's dead? Okay. You feel that she's dead at this point. No phone calls. All right. So you go about your day on Saturday. Okay. What about the following day?
Sunday.
Sunday.
I just stayed at the house. Me and Skylar stayed at the house, and I was gonna put my mom in the blue bin. I couldn't go back into the bathroom, and so I just got high.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to this blue bin. You purchased that where?
Walmart. I didn't purchase this bullet.
That was on Saturday?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So tell me about your trip to the Walmart.
Me and my son went to Walmart, and I got the blue bin and the cleaning supplies and the contractor bags, and then walked out of the Walmart and put it in the car. And then me and my son drove back to. I got McDonald's for my son, and then we drove back to the house.
Okay, this is Saturday evening. About what time?
Probably around like 7:30, 8 o'clock.
Okay. Now, is this the first time you've been running this trailer since you left on Tuesday?
Yeah.
Okay, so now you're back at Mom's trailer. Okay, you have cleaning supplies, a large bin. Can you describe this bin? How big was this bin?
It was about as big as me. It was blue.
Like how large, how high off the ground is this bin?
That high.
Okay.
And then from here to like as big as my body.
Okay.
Maybe a little bit smaller.
Now, what were your intentions with this bin? I mean, it's a large bin. What were your intentions?
Put my mom in there.
Put your mom into this bin. Okay. Now, were you going to do this by yourself? Did you have help?
I was going to do it myself.
You were going to do it by yourself? So that was your main goal. You were going to put your mom in the storage bin. All right. So you never did that. So at this point, you decided to clean the place up. Okay. Cleaning supplies. All right. What area of the house did you clean up?
The kitchen floor, and like a little bit of the cabinets, and then the entrance to like the house where the door is at, front door, and then the living room by the TV, and then the hallway, and then back by the bathroom, and then I stopped.
So when you say clean up, like a weekly cleaning, what were you cleaning up?
The blood.
The blood from your mother? Okay. What did you do with the cloths, the rags, the towels? Threw in the garbage? In the trailer?
Mm-hmm.
The same garbage where you put the hammer?
Mm-hmm.
You discard any of the clothing, anything else, anywhere else?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the clothing that you were wearing on Tuesday in your bedroom, where at?
On the floor in my closet.
Okay. All right, so you do a little cleaning in the pretty much the entire trailer. Okay. You left your mother in the bathroom?
You couldn't go in there.
Couldn't go in there. Couldn't bear to see the sight of your mom in there?
No. Just couldn't. I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't hear. Just one side is not like just got.
You were there a couple of days at Friday or Saturday, Sunday, and Monday.
Mm-hmm.
How did you go to the bathroom?
I went in a little bucket, and then tossed outside and stuff. He just kept in his pull up.
Okay, so you're saying that you stayed at the house Saturday, Sunday, also Monday?
Monday, I left
Where'd you go somewhere?
to the hearing, to my boyfriend's hearing, the 7th.
That would have been Tuesday.
Pretty sure it was Monday, the 7th. At 1.
That was the same day you got arrested, correct?
Mm-hmm.
That's Tuesday.
It was Tuesday.
Sir, do you remember if anyone...
You sure it's Tuesday? Because I swear it was Monday. 7th
was on a Tuesday.
All right, so that weekend, the time that you're there, do you remember anyone coming over to the house?
No.
No visitors, any phone calls? Did your mom receive any phone calls?
My mom received messages from her friends and phone calls from her boyfriend. But after that, told Mark, her employee, that I act like my mom. I said my back gave out, and I just talked like she would. And then my dad called one time, and I told him that I was busy, and I'll call him back later.
Okay, so when you say you have a conversation with these people, telephone conversations, text conversations?
Text conversations.
And these text conversations were made on what? Mom's phone, your phone?
My own phone.
Your mom's phone. So you received text messages on your mom's telephone from coworkers, and you acted as if you were your mother. You responded to these messages acting as if your mother was responding. All right.
What friends or coworkers do you remember attempted to contact your mom?
Her friend and then her boyfriend, and then my dad tried to call.
Anyone else tried to contact her, either call her or text her?
My grandmother, but I didn't answer.
Now, did you have a conversation with your father?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was only trying to get a hold of your mom through her phone and via text.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this is over the weekend. Roughly, do you remember what day?
No.
Okay.
Going back to your mom's phone, did you take it with you the day of the assault?
Yeah.
And were people texting her while you were at the motel? Like that Tuesday, Wednesday,
Yeah,
Thursday?
boyfriend lunch.
And you were responding back.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have been in the motel.
Mm-hmm.
And this is your mother's boyfriend. So basically, this all started over a disagreement with one of your mom's vehicle, and the fact that you're addicted to heroin.
Yeah.
And the result of your addiction made you
Turn on my mom.
turn on your mom.
Did you tell anyone or talk to anyone about what happened?
No.
You never told me.
I'm telling you.
On.
Let's go back to when you left the motel that Saturday. How did you pay for it? How were you paying for the motel?
I didn't take the motel Saturday after I left.
Okay. How were you paying for the motel?
With a credit card. Pinnacle credit card.
You paid daily.
Mm-hmm.
And you said when you left the motel, you went maybe 3 bundles of hair. Who did you buy that on?
One of his friends,
Who was that?
his name, she got it for me.
Where at?
It was in the Keysport in Grandview.
In Grandview. And while you were staying, you said at that motel at that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and you left Saturday. Did you use any of your mom's debit or credit cards anywhere other than paying for the motel?
I got a pizza.
Where at?
Had it delivered to the motel.
You know what pizza shop?
You know,
Did you go to any Mac machines or anything else? Any stores where you used a credit card or debit card?
yeah, I got a cigarette and stuff.
You know where?
It was the gas station was the Shrills. I was expecting
Gas station, Dunkin' Donuts, and North Brazil. Where else did you use the card?
what was it?
Now you went back to the house on Saturday, is that correct? Eventually that led you to go to Walmart in Dillwood,
Mm-hmm.
which you said was around somewhere between 7 and 8 o'clock at night. Do you remember what entrance or exit you came in and out of Walmart?
That's an entrance.
Is there only one entrance or there's two? Usually,
There's two.
so you remember which one was it though?
The one on the far right.
One on the far right. And did you exit the same? And was with you or was he in the car? You were holding him, carrying him?
He was in the buggy.
And when you went there, you went to get certain items, is that correct? What items did you steal? You remember stealing?
I remember stealing the bin and the contractor bags and the 409 bleach cleaner and the vinegar and the wash rags and the 2 sponges and the gloves.
Did you do any, did you look at a computer or anything to check what cleans blood?
No.
You didn't do any research on how to clean blood?
I just was looking at supplies.
And you went back to the house. Did you clean that night? Went back to the hallway area. The hallway that leads from the living room towards the bedrooms and bathrooms. Is that carpeted?
No, there's a throwaway down there.
The throw rug? Is it the whole length of the...
Kind of.
Did you do anything with that?
I rolled it up and put it in the hamper.
And when did you do that?
That night
The night you killed your mom. Tuesday you went to the hearing, it was canceled, and then you subsequently got arrested for the robbery at PNC.
Mm-hmm.
You were in your mom's car.
Right.
So what day was the robbery at PNC?
I thought it was Monday, but I guess
It was the day of your boyfriend's
here.
scheduled hearing.
Did you intend on killing your mother?
Didn't. That's why these are called to get high. To get high.
And you asked Mom and she said no.
You got angry.
I got very angry. I really wanted
You really
to
wanted
get high. I'm so sick. I don't want to feel that pain anymore.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you. Right now it is 16:25 hours. That concludes our interview. Thank you, Sarah.
If there's any questions, you can sit in here for a minute. If there's any other questions, we'll come back and ask you. All right, we're going to keep the audio and video recording running, okay? See if someone will sit with you, either myself or... Please walk out to...
Okay, sir, real quick. You gave a nice statement. Is there anything else you'd like to add to your statement?
I didn't mean to do it. I didn't mean to kill my mom. I didn't plan it. I was just really dope sick.
Mm.
I know it wasn't right to destroy mom and this and what's like that.
Okay.
Did you make any attempt to put her in the bin?
No. I didn't go in the bathroom.
And I think you already told us, but when she went for the front door during the attack, you pushed her into the kitchen. And it cost her. She fell.
All right, sir. Can you treated rather fairly here with the state police?
Yeah.
Okay. No threats or anything?
No.
Okay.
It's very nice.
All right. Thank you very much.
I'm going to turn off the audio recording. It's $1628. All right, sir.
After this interrogation, Sarah is immediately charged with first and second degree murder, reckless endangerment, as well as aggravated assault. On October 31st, 2014, Sarah is marched into a Pennsylvania courtroom for the very first of her hearings. Now, prosecutors would argue that the murder was premeditated and deserving of the death penalty, and what they would do is they would end up playing the interrogation that you just saw for the courtroom. The courtroom watched in complete shock, the flippant attitude and the details. It wasn't looking good for Sarah. But the defense countered that Sarah was in the throes of a violent heroin withdrawal. She wasn't capable of having the intent required for first-degree murder because of that. They would say that the addictive qualities of heroin are astronomical and it just grips people just like it did Sarah that day. It was clear as day, and by her own admission, she's a heroin addict, and she was so desperate for a fix that day that she was willing to do anything to get it, including killing her own mother. The defense would argue that Sarah's addiction prevented her from having the specific intent required for a first-degree premeditated crime, an aggravated circumstance that's required for the death penalty. But there are thousands upon thousands of opiate addicts that are currently in the throes of that heroin withdrawal, and 99.999% of them don't kill their own mother for a fix. But in March of 2016, Sarah unexpectedly pleads guilty to all the charges against her. And on April 19th, 2016, Sarah is convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. After the trial concluded and Sarah's conviction was set, she was transferred out of the jail system and into the state prison system, and she was placed into the Cambridge Springs Women's Prison, where she remains to this day and will likely spend for the rest of her life. If you enjoyed this case and you'd like to see more like it, make sure you hit the like button, subscribe, and drop a comment down below. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks.